Hello there, and welcome to the Epic Zone podcast. We are back again to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans. And well, today I might do something a little bit different. Today I want to try to predict this year's Bound for Glory. I'm going to try to predict the matches, the storylines, leading up to Bound for Glory. Maybe the results. Yeah, the results as well, I guess, because like especially some results are going to be like integral to the build or the reasoning behind like a lot of the picks, because like if you don't have something big at Bound for Glory, people aren't gonna shill out now. Like there have been a bit of shilling out, but they still need a fair amount of build to really get people to shill out for the show. Now, I am sure that I will get a few of these potentially wrong. So that is fine with me, but I am going to do my best. I'm not going to, I think I better start with the obvious, which is the Hardys thing, with Team 3D. I'm not going to really, touch that with the whole tag team scenario. I think we already discussed it a little bit, and I said that I don't really think the Hardys will lose. There is a little bit of a wrinkle in it where, we don't know whether they're going to retire or they're going to be leaving TNA soon or whatever else it is. We have that distinct feeling that they are potentially going WWE bound, but we don't know. But whether that is the case, it's like, again, I don't really like the idea of them vacating the belts, but like if you're going to vacate the belts or whatever you're going to do, I feel like you've got to have some other tag team tournament match at some point, at least. Like that, or you've got to do something to get some of these other guys over. And again, I feel like the Courier shot, get rid of, you can challenge for any title, because it does not make any sense for people to challenge for the X Division title or the tag team titles or whatever else it is. In a story sense, it can make sense, but just say you can challenge for a world title with that, because that's really what people should want to and should be challenging for with that opportunity if they're going to have it. So, Corey Shot Gauntlet, I guess, we might start there after this, I guess, actually. Yeah, so I don't know whether they're going to have another tag team style match or a tag team tournament on the show. They might have it before. They might have it at Victory Road. They might have it the night before. They might have it some stuff the night after, or they might just have a surprise kind of match of some sort. Like, again, I don't know, but yeah. So let's start with the Cody shot. Should I start with the Hall of Fame? I don't think it really matters, because it's like, dude, I think people care more about the matches and whatnot. So I think I'll skip the Hall of Fame and go straight to matches then. So this will be I think they only put one or two matches on the pre-show. Usually just the Corey shot or whatever, or something like that. Although the Corey shot is pretty okay. I think it's 20 entrants, right? Pretty sure. But again, I do feel like you should cut it into two and make a men's one and a women's one. So, but I don't know. I always keep thinking that the Corey shot is kind of like a thing that they shouldn't really do anymore. It should just give you a number one contendership. It shouldn't be you can Corey shot at any time. Though that is good storytelling at sometimes. It's oh yeah, it's a nuisance at other times. But if they're going to do it, who's going to win, and who's going to go along, and what are they going to do? How are they going to win some sort of title? I could see that you could think about like someone like Mustafa Ali, but like Mustafa Ali needs to be like not just in a match where it's like they're trying to elevate him like that. Like he is a dipshit heel and it's best on dipshit heels. Um if you're gonna keep that stipulation of it can be cashed in at any time type thing. Um so that makes sense. It makes, like I said before, it like makes a lot of sense if you put Mustafa Ali in that position with the with the quarter shot, and then he gets the quarter shot against Santana. All of that stuff, I think I've already talked about that, but like I don't know whether that's the best route. So like I would feel like he's already kind of like being pushed into that mix. Um, and you kind of want to do more with him to elevate him further up and make him feel like, oh yeah, this guy's on the rise. Like, yeah, he's I don't want to say an older talent, but he's a much more established talent. So you kind of got to use him as a springboard for other stars to get over. That's what you have to do with like guys like Cedric Alexander if he's sticking around. Um, so like I would like to see Cedric do something cool too, but what it would be, I'm not 100% sure. Kind of like the international title there, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, it's really tough because you've got 20 goddamn people to, to try to give something to, and you're mostly looking at the under roster, I guess, so to speak, or the sub roster, not like the main players or whatever. I could almost see you giving it to Jake something that would be kind of cool in some ways. Like I've said before, he deserves to. I think he does deserve to be pushed, but I really think that you need to like figure out what you're gonna do with him because he hasn't really like found that spot of like being right on with like everyone else. He's never really like I like what you were doing with Danny Luna recently. Like just do that with him. Like do the same sort of thing. Have him go crazy. Have him talk about how he's not gotten his opportunities and or whatever and all of this and stuff like that. And just do that. Let me quickly have a. Actually, I don't know about Elijah. I'm still thinking that his triceps is going to keep him out for a while, so I don't really think that that's like it. Also, doesn't make 100% sense, but you know, whatever. Frankie Kazarian, that's an interesting one. He had it before, and I feel like if you're gonna give it to him again, it's like, dude, for frick's sake, find somebody else. Like, literally find somebody else. I don't care, because same with Eric Young. Like I said before, like if you're gonna try to pull the trigger on Frankie, pull the friggin' trigger. Stop, trying to say, oh, we'll do it, and then you don't do it. Like, just do it or don't do it. Like, at the end of the day. So I guess I'm mostly looking at the guys. But yeah, there's certainly some girls that I really like, but it's like I don't know what are you gonna do with some of them. I don't know. It's a tough call in some ways. Let's see. Who else is on this roster that I've kind of maybe forgotten about? Miguel and Wentz, like if Ace Austin was still on the roster, I'd be thinking about Ace Austin potentially. All right. Now I do honestly feel like no. There's certainly a lot of young gals in this. Maybe you could think about Danny Luna, maybe. But then I feel like you've got to kind of try to put it on to someone else. And I kind of feel like you might be trying to put Danny and Jody together at some point soon. But then again, you could always extend that out, and you can always kind of do stuff in this match. I mean, I don't know. It's always really tough to figure out where you're gonna go with certain things, and how it's gonna work out. Indy Hartwell certainly like a rising star in the knockouts. There's a lot of potential knockouts. I still want Kylan King to come back, just to come back. Like, the girl's been out with that injury for a long time, like nearly 2 years or something, or whatever it's been. It has been a ridiculous amount of time since she's been out. And, like, dude, I just want her to come back, just like, and hope that she's, see that she's healed or whatever. Like, yeah. I love Killer Kelly though. Like, I kind of want to see her do more stuff, but I don't know whether they are gonna do stuff. Like, so, but yeah. Like, I feel like you might feel like there's a few quote unquote ringers. Like, I like Myron Reed a whole lot, but I don't I don't think that he'd have much to do at this show. Honestly, same sort of thing. So it's like, well, I'd love to see him and Speedball, but like, I don't know whether that's happening, but I definitely don't think it's happening at this show, because again, you've got to think, like, you're not going to put certain people in this like gauntlet because, like, they're just too important of people. Like, you're not going to put Santana in there. You're not going to put you know Joe Hendry in there. So I just don't really think, like, that's really like where you're going to see some of these guys. Like, I'd like to see Judas Icarus and Travis Williams do some stuff, because, like, they've been just like the second hands to EY for so long, and it's like, dudes, these guys it needs to not be about Eric. It needs to be about these young guys getting over, you know. So I've said that a few times. That, like, when you say, like, the leader of the faction's getting over, it's like, it's good when it's someone like Ash by Aliens, because, like, not that she's super old, but she's not a spring chicken either. Like, she's still fairly young in the business in some ways, in some forms, in some fashion. So, she's a new star, and certainly somebody TNA wants to keep building up. Certainly guys like Leon Slater, though, but I kind of keep thinking about Mace Warner actually now. But it's like, I wanted him to do so much, but I'm just like thinking, dude, what else is this guy doing? Like, or what else can he do? Like, it's time to start saying, let's make him as dangerous as possible. Like, maybe that's like the best choice. Like, he would be so dangerous with that call your shot. Like, you could keep teasing that he's gonna, cash it in all the friggin' time. Ryan Nemeth, I don't know, because he's not really ever, like really there. His hometown man's just a funny one, just for lols or what. It would be really funny in some ways if you gave the hometown man the call your shot, and then you had the hometown man win the title. That'd be kind of funny, but I don't think that'd be good. Like, Xia Brookside's there. Like, I think Victoria Crawford, I actually said this the other day, where I felt like she's almost on the cusp of retirement sort of thing. So I think maybe you could put her in here, but I kind of feel like you might be like, let's figure out how we can give her like a really like good last big time match. So I think my answer for winner might be Mance Warner, or maybe Jake something if you're going to turn him heel and actually give him a big push. But, like, I would be more, like, thinking like it's Mace, because like he hasn't done a whole lot yet, but he has a lot of potential. And I kind of think like even if you don't have him win the title, I don't know whether he wouldn't win it, but like even if he doesn't win the title, you start saying, okay, well now let's try to keep him in the mix. Let's try to keep him like at that world title kind of level. Let's start building him as an attraction and like basically give him the death machine treatment. Like he's the now the hardcore guy. He's the guy that will do anything to anyone and, you know, destroy people. And I don't know, he kind of needs a signature weapon in some ways. Like you have Cactus with his you have Sammy with his baseball bat, Cactus Jack, Mick Foley with his barbed wire baseball bat. You have Sabu with his chairs. You have the Dudleys with their tables, Hardys with their ladders, Edge and Christian kind of the chairs. So he kind of needs a signature weapon, I kind of feel like. Everyone kind of has a signature weapon, especially hardcore guys. So when you have somebody like that, you start going, okay, how can we, like, get you with something? Like, Cedric Alexander's another one, but, like, again, I don't really know what you're going to do there. He, like, if you're going to push him into anywhere, it's hard to think of pushing him into the world title division, but like maybe you should. I don't know. Anyway, let's look at the title matches. X Division. I want this so bad, so I'm going to actually predict it because I think it's like the match that they 100% should do, and that is Leon Slater versus Amazing Red. Like, I want to see it. Everyone and their dog wants to see it. I know that they're doing it at some point. I can't remember when, and I can't remember even what promotion it's in. Some place on the Indies. So 10 people and their dog are going to see it. Like, but then no one else is going to ever basically see it. Like, I really hope that they pull, like, whatever it is out of their back pocket and get Amazing Red to appear. Like, because he hasn't appeared since I don't know when in TNA. And it's like, again, there's a lot of people, and, like, AJ Styles was probably, like, the biggest one. But, like, there's a lot of people. Samoa Joe. Like, Christopher Daniels appeared, like, a few years ago. I can't remember when it was, but it was a few years ago. I think it was during the pandemic, and wrestled in TNA. And that was like, oh, that's cool, because it's like he hadn't wrestled there in so friggin' long and all of that. And same with like Kazarian, he turned back up. I was just trying to think of like more TNA guys or more people that were related to the company that have kind of like turned back up. Eric Young, you know. So there's a lot of guys that have kind of like, they had that, not bridge burning, but they had issues in the past, and now it's time to mend those bridges sort of thing and say, come on, come back here, work for us. We're going to pay you up front, do, whatever it is, and we're also going to pay you whatever it is post-match. And it's going to be a big match, and if you want to stick around, you can stick around, but like, we really need you for this big match. And like I look at the roster, as I just sort of said, and besides the few people that are kind of on the roster that kind of could maybe fit into the X Division, there's like no one in that X Division besides maybe Casey Navarro, and he's injured, that would be like my thought of somebody like going against him. Maybe Myron, but again, I kind of feel like, again, you might want to do that at Victory Road or somewhere else. Like, I don't know. But yeah. Ryan Nemeth, I don't know. He's more of a tag team guy. And then again, it's like, oh yeah, he's going to lose. So like, whatever. You got Travis Williams and what's his name? Actually, you got Octagon Jr. and Laredo Kid as well. I keep forgetting. Judas Icarus, sorry. I forgot about his name there. I don't know. You've kind of got Jason Hotch, maybe. But yeah, like, realistically, I really just want to see him and Amazing Red because like the story is like writes itself, and like what other big time match can you have for Bound for Glory for the X Division title apart from like Ultimate X? Like I don't know. So yeah. And I feel like Ultimate X is like often it has no real story. It's just stuff happens. And it's like again, that's probably the issue is like again, the division isn't deep enough. Like there's not enough people in that division to make it feel like there's challengers everywhere for him. But then again, like if you bring somebody in and say, okay, he's gonna challenge you at Bound for Glory, whatever, it's like, okay, sure. And then we can work on other things later down the road, like we can find other people to bring in or to do stuff with and whatever else. So, but yeah. So that is one that I will hopefully not regret saying this is the match. Okay, for the women's tag team titles, it's got to be the Inspiration versus the Elegance brand. It's got to be. In my opinion, it's got to be anyway. Because like there's hardly any other female tag teams in this division, and like who's bigger than the Inspiration? None of them. Like, so again, it's not very like logical to think that they won't be challenging for those titles. I mean, you've got Myla Grace and Harley Hudson, but I think there's a couple other like Franken teams of some of the girls. But yeah, I can't really remember all of them or whatever because again, they like don't really like, even though I said Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr., they barely appear. Like they really barely appear. So again, like there isn't really anyone else to have a match with for those titles. So that's the only one that I'm gonna is probably definite. So regarding the international title, it's really tough, I think, to like figure it out because it's like you've got Kazarian there. He's not going to challenge Macklin at Bound for Glory. Like I feel like that's super unlikely. So like if you're looking at the roster of people that are kind of like there on the roster right now. Like obviously, again, you could bring in a ringer, and whatnot to have somebody challenge Macklin. We've said like could be someone from NXT or WWE or what have you. But honestly, I don't think like that's that good unless it's like somebody super amazing like AJ Styles or something like that. And then it wouldn't make really a whole lot of sense for AJ. Like, it wouldn't make no sense, but it wouldn't, like, make a lot of sense. So I was thinking, like, who else is there? There's, like, not very many people, like, that really could do anything with it or have a big enough feud. I mean, like, you could take AJ Francis out of the singles division and push him into that sort of, like, division. It's funny because like Rich Swann wasn't on TV this week or whatever as well, and whatnot. But what have you? It's probably irrelevant. Sure, he had some other taping or something else to go to or what have you. Just there isn't very many people. Maybe Mace Warner, but again, they've kind of done that to death at the moment. Maybe Moose. I mean, but then again, I'm thinking like Moose could be in the world title picture. But then again, I don't know. That doesn't make any real sense because again, it's like babyface versus babyface. But then again, like I said before, you could do something with like the idea that Macklin wants a match with Eddie Edwards. Like you could do that. That'd be okay. I said before, I think that I think you've got to start looking at Mustafa Ali in that more main event kind of picture. Though you could give him this belt, but I don't really know what it really does for him or he really does for the belt. Like, it'd be better if he was fighting for the title, or if you had him in the call your shot or whatever else it is, things like that. Give him a way to, heel shit himself into that position, and then, go from there. Um, there just really isn't very many other people. I think we've already covered a lot of the people that realistically could be in that position. That's about it. Like, really, there isn't very many people, and this is kind of a big problem in some ways. Like, they don't really have enough people, or enough made up people, like people that are like main event or semi-main event or even mid-card ready. You've got a lot of people that are either in tag teams, um, or like in the main event scene already. So it's like, well, why are you bringing them down to being like in that mid card space? That, or you've got people that have kind of already been in that position, and now it's like, well, why are they coming back after already being beaten? Like, Elijah would be a good pick in some ways, even though that's a babyface versus a babyface. You could turn Cedric Alexander heel, maybe. But you know what? See, even though it doesn't make much sense from the babyface heel dynamic or whatever, you could do it as a respect match. So, you know what? That's what I'm going to predict, I think. I'm going to give Macklin his match that he wants, because there isn't really much else I can do for him. Like, I don't even know where you're going to take the title from here. You've kind of got to really revamp your roster a whole lot. Like, you've got the hometown man there, but, like, again, doing another babyface versus babyface match, I don't feel like that's, like, that much interest there. So, like, you've got to do something else. You've really got to add, like, several more guys, like, and that's why, like, the mid-card title there kind of doesn't work. Like, you've either got to have, like, that's, like, this is the thing, you've either got to really focus into having a good main event scene and a good, like, X Division scene, or you've got to focus into having a good tag team scene, sort of thing. So you, like, either you're going to have a good tag team scene, or you're going to have a good, like, mid-card scene. So your mid-card scene is often your tag team scene. So having a mid-card title really, like, gets in the way of that division. Like, it's like having a mid-card women's tag team title division does get in the way of the main event scene, and having a mid-card tag team men's division does get in the way of, like, the main event scene in some ways. But it, like, not as much, I don't think. Like, it is tough, again, because it is like, well, how are you going to get somebody from a tag team into the main event scene, or into the, like, you could take somebody from the tag team scene like KC and put him in the X Division. That's pretty easy. It's always going to be easy to put somebody in a tag team and put them back into a mid-card picture. But saying that, like, we're going to find a way to have somebody in this mid-card scene move along is, like, really tough. But again, this is why I kind of feel like I said before, and I think I'll change my mind a bit. I said I wanted to see Macklin in the main event against Trick, or even at least involved in that, because he's, like, one of the main guys. It is, like, really tough to book a mid-card title, but it is one of those things. I think they're dedicated in some ways to doing it. So, like, let's let them, like, but I do think that the issue is really the amount of money somewhat that they have to throw at talent. They just don't have enough talent, and it's really tough, because it's like some weeks, like, the number of talent that they've got don't get featured, and even, like, the good hands or the great hands, or Sinner and Saint, or whatever, the Northern Armory, whatever you want to call them, they don't get featured to the level that I think that they should. And, like, again, I like Myron Reed. I kind of want to see him and Slater at some point. I think I sort of said that, but, beyond that, I don't really know what else you can do. But anyway, let's move on now. All right, for the Knockouts title. Now, I didn't really say this, but I don't really think I'll have too many, like, personal feuds right now because like it's too hard to sort of pick out. But I think more title feuds is more easy. So Ash is going to have to take on somebody, and you kind of think, oh well, it might be Masha Slamovich, but I don't know whether they'd move on from that at this point. So, like, I don't really want it to be Indy Hartwell. I don't really think it's the right time to switch the belt. So it's like, if you're gonna put somebody in there, it's got to be somebody that people still want to see later on or whatever else it is. So Masha does make a bunch of sense. You got Tasha Steelz, although that doesn't really make much sense. You've got Alicia, but that doesn't really make much sense. She's sort of like just kind of there. Xia Brookside, like that wouldn't be bad, wouldn't be horrible, but I don't know. I don't know if that's like big enough. Like you could do other things, but yeah, I think like the biggest one is to do it against Masha. So that's what I'm going to guess. Like I think I've touched on this and touched on this and touched on this. Like the biggest thing to do for Bound for Glory, besides like Trick versus Santana, is Trick versus Santana and Joe Hendry, or Trick versus Joe Hendry. So, and I think that the fans want to see Joe Hendry in there in that match. So it's really tough to say. Like again, so if you're going to do that, I don't think you can have it just be a triple threat again. I think you need like Fatal 4-Way, maybe King of the Mountain, like I don't know, or something else, just like more of a multi-man match, or I don't know, something else. Or maybe like again you say the gauntlet match, like you actually put Joe Hendry and Santana in that match, and whoever wins that match on the night becomes the number one contender or something. I don't know. But Trick comes out and causes a DQ or something or whatever. I don't know. Because again, but the problem with that is it's like, again, when you're selling a show, you've got to sell it on like the main matches. Like this would be one of the absolute main matches. So you've got to have Joe Hendry in there. You've got to have Santana in there, I think. So again, like maybe you could put Moose in there. I don't know. He's kind of a little bit injured, but hopefully he's like okay to go. You could put Mustafa Ali in there. I said this before, but it starts becoming like, oh, you could just about put just about anyone in there in some ways again. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. You could try to put as many people in there as possible. So I don't know. Because you start looking at the rest of the roster, and besides the people that are going to be probably in the Courier shot, it's like, who else are we not using or not doing something with? Like AJ Francis and guys that either have a big name or have a lot of potential to sort of do something big, or you need to do more with them to build them up or whatever else it is. Like I said before, Elijah, super big, but again, like that injury is probably going to keep him out for a few more months at least, unless he's like super freak Cena City and comes back at in a ridiculous pace. And at that rate, it's like, well, he's probably not going to challenge in the title picture realistically. But if he is, it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I kind of still think that they were kind of gonna do something with him and Hendry, maybe. So in my opinion, there's no way, or not no way, but there's no real way to get many ringers in for this match. Like, because again, like, if you're gonna say, oh, NXT or whatever people could be in this show, or WWE, yes, they could be, but dude, you can't rely on WWE doing shit, bro. Like seriously, like I would not put it past them to do absolutely nothing for this show. Like they could promote it, but like they might send somebody to be in the show or on the show, but it's like they're not really going to do a whole lot because like what could they do? Like I don't know. Because it's like again that whole problem. Are they going to stick around next week or are they going to be around next month? You know, like, or are they going to be suddenly called up to the main roster and then it's like, oh, okay, never mind. You know, or whatever. So I am thinking like Eddie's not doing much, but then again, he's not been wrestling a whole lot either. So I don't know. Or thus far, I haven't, you know, but then again, it's like, does he need to? I don't know. Like, but then again, he could still wrestle. You could still have like a triple threat, maybe, or you could have something else. I don't know. Could always have it at another show, I guess. So, so I'm trying to come down to how, like, is it going to be a fatal 4-way? Is it going to be King of the Mountain? Is like, what's going to be the stipulation? Like, because again, like, or is it just going to be Trick versus Santana? And I don't know. And it's like, I don't think so because again, I feel like you've got to find a way to have Joe Hendry in there. So you need one more person at least. And it's tough, like, you could say it'd be Moose, but does that make sense? I don't know. I kind of feel like you need to have like a serious personal feud between like somebody like Mustafa Ali and Moose or something like that. Like, I don't know. It's really, really tough. Really tough. Could you put Mace Warner in the main event? I don't think you could. You need guys that are already basically made main eventers to go into this match. So to say, let's put in Mustafa Ali, who's not really a made main eventer yet, or somebody like that, it's like, yeah, that's not really going to work, especially for the biggest show of the year. Like, you can do that at, like, Victory Road or something like that, or whatever else it is, some of the other B pay-per-views, to try to help push somebody up. But, like, when you're talking about the big show, you need to be like, okay, who are our biggest guys? Moose, Santana, you know, like, Joe Hendry, etc. Like, those are our biggest guys. So maybe, like, Fatal 4-way, I don't know, but then I feel like you've got too many baby faces. Maybe you could slot Eric Young in this one. I said this, like, with, like, maybe this is better for him to try to get him in this position. Like, I don't know. It was just something that I didn't think was, like, made sense. So, but then it's like, he has sort of a rivalry with Joe Hendry. You've obviously got Kazarian, who's had that rivalry as well. You know, so you could put either of them in this position. I did say I would put potentially EY in that match before with Macklin. Maybe you could put, like I said before, I kind of wanted to see Macklin in the world title picture. Maybe you could, like, I don't know whether you should take the title off of him this early, though. Or you just have him in this match. Like, is it a 5-way? Is it a 6-way? Where are we at with this? Like, that's what I start, like, trying to be, like, nailing it down and thinking, like, what's the best combination, like, of baby faces and heels? Like, what's the best, like, something else that this person could do or whatever else it is. You know, I was trying to think of who else Trick Williams has had a real big rivalry with, besides like Hendry, Santana, and Moose. But I don't really think it's anyone because, again, there's not many people that are kind of on that level. You could kind of put Eddie in this position. Maybe. But, like, again, I feel like you kind of need two heels. You kind of need two baby faces. Or you need, if you're going to have 6 or 5 or 6, it's going to have to be, like, a little bit lopsided. So then I feel like when it's at 5, it's like, might as well be 6. And if it's, you know, you're really, like, umming and erring about the 5th, like, just make it a 4-way. Like, so, yeah, I don't know. Like, this is probably the hardest one because if you're going to do a 4-way or whatever else it is, it's like, well, what is that? Like, you know, where is it? And I think, like, Kazarian and Eric Young are the best 2 other picks. Or it's between those 2. You know, so, but definitely, it's going to be Trick, Santana, Hendry, and maybe definitely one other person, at least one other person. I don't know whether it should be Kaz or EY, though. I did say before, like, EY will be in that other match. So, let's go with Kaz. Just to make it simpler on myself of, like, going back and forth between, like, who's it gonna be? You know, does this make sense? And then, like, you obviously, as I said before, if you're gonna add more people, I don't know, Mustafa Ali. Like, I do feel like you need to do something with him. You need to start saying, okay, this is our next guy. He needs to get built. So maybe a feud with him and Moose, like, would work out well. Like, you could do that in the Call Your Shot or something like that. Or you could do it at Victory Road or something like that too. They've kind of been going against each other indirectly because the System and Order 4 are going against each other. So you could kind of build it out of that. And then build it for Bound for Glory kind of thing, maybe. I don't know. But he needs to get over and get a win to try to start going, okay, you know, this is the direction we're going in. We're going to start building this guy or whatever else it is. So, yeah, that's what I think at the moment. Now, like, that's a fair few matches, honestly. That's like 6 or so matches. So anything else, like, besides that, maybe there'll be a couple pre-show matches or something or whatever. But that will be most of the matches, I feel. So, yeah, those are my Bound for Glory way too early predictions or thoughts on, like, what I think the card could look like. And I haven't obviously I haven't looked at spoilers or whatever, but, like, even if I had have looked at spoilers, they only tell me, like, what happened this week on TV or whatever it was. So it wouldn't really tell me, like, what, like, direction they're going for Bound for Glory. So, but still, yeah, that's where I'm at with that for now, guys. So I hope that you have enjoyed this one, and I hope that you guys will join me again in another one.